Happy Veterans Day. Veterans Day is about people who have served. If I listen to my dad, my family's been in Vermont for something like 10 generations, and we've served all the way back to the Civil War, if not before. My granddad was in World War II, and he served in the European theater. He went across northern Africa. He did the trip up Italy. He served in Anzio, which, if you read anything about it, was a tricky place to be. My dad was in Vietnam. A lot of things about veterans you hear is about stories. One of the stories my dad told was about an Australian fellow that served in his unit. And they were in a particularly intense situation, and all of a sudden he didn't hear the rifle that had a particularly unique sound from this Australian fellow. So he crawled his way back through the ditches and found the Australian making himself a pot of tea because it was that time in the afternoon. And that's why his rifle fell silent. My brother was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and one of the stories he told was about doing some night ops with night vision, which has monocle vision, not binocular. And he jumped over a wall that he thought was fairly short, except it was about an 8-foot fall. And he heard a voice over the radio from the helicopter say, "Oh, is that dude okay?" He was. Well, I mean, mostly. I question that daily, but you never know. For me, one of the most important stories for me was the years after I served. When I was working at Vertec in Colchester, I heard a voice over the wall that had a particular accent. I recognized it from my time in Bosnia. I went over, turns out I was right. And then a few years later, I got a letter in the mail, and I'd like to read it to you. It says, "Hello, Seth. You may not even remember me, but we worked together at Vertec. You told me you served in Bosnia during that brutal war. And if I can remember well, we found out you were there in the same year I was still there. So I'm sure you're wondering why the hell I'm writing to you out of the blue. Well, to keep a long story short, after 18 years of being away from that horrible place, I've been doing some personal coping and therapy to recover from the scars and torture. Together with that, I've been learning more and more about the help we received as victims and how much the rest of the world was involved in our fate. I've always been extremely thankful to this entire universe for surviving that godforsaken place. But I do realize that it was people like you who went there and put their own lives on the line to save ours, when really you didn't have to. It wasn't your country or your people. Well, you did anyway. So I guess in this own weird way, I'm trying to say thank you. You're appreciated and honored by so many of us that you don't even know." Signed, the one that got away. You know what? If I had it to do all over again, I'd do it exactly the same way, and I don't know a single veteran that wouldn't. So, happy Veterans Day to all who have served and tried to make the world a better place in their own way. Thank you.